Figure I'll start some point, you know. I guess we got a couple asses in seats. That's a starting point anyway. And we're a bit behind time. Well, I'll do my best. This is reminds me of a conversation I had yesterday with a guy who has a panel called Part Deux, where they do everything that could go wrong with the panel. You know, electrical problems, people being out of line, people not showing, or too many people doing the wrong, whatever. He had a long list of panel terrors, and they engineered every one. I love that approach to it. That's great.
Was that last night?
Yeah, it was just I was talking to him. I think the panel was last night. I meant to go to it, but I didn't. But I used to do stand-up comedy in a team, a two-man thing. We called ourselves the Video Pirates, and we kind of borrowed a little bit of that Smothers Brothers format where I was the straight guy wanting to put on a show, slightly grouchy, and he was always messing with me and throwing, you know, stumbling blocks in front of me, on purpose, of course. It was all planned. And we'd escalate to the point where once a set, I'd kill him. And he'd fall down on the deck, and and then we'd sing a song called The Lack of Motion, where he'd sing from the floor motionless. And it was a lot of fun to do that because it's a gotcha, you know, for the audience. And so what I had planned to do today was just try to spread the plague of the ukulele, because what happened to me is about, I reckon back in '05, I was just minding my business. I had just landed a new job after a desperate search and was settling into that. And I don't know what I was doing that day, but something, I felt like, I want a ukulele. I knew what one was. I think my brother had one when we were growing up, and we just, you know, it was like everybody thinks it's kind of a novelty. It's not really an instrument, you know, it's Tiny Tim. And people were starting to forget about Arthur Godfrey. He was still around, but that was part of him, was him playing a ukulele and singing these folksy songs. And boy, he crashed and burned. He had a hot mic issue where he revealed his real self to the world on a nationwide broadcast. And, you know, the nation went overnight from thinking, what a swell guy, to what a rat. And when I was a kid, he was just kind of coming back from that and doing commercials, you know, I am Arthur Godfrey. And you didn't see him play the uke much then. But along came Tiny Tim, and I loved Tiny Tim. I thought he was awesome. But a lot of people, you know, he was an acquired taste. You know, that I loved the purposefulness of the silliness he put forth. And that was not a put-on. That was not a character he was doing. That was him. And the authenticity was just added to his oddness, and it was, you know, I liked him. He actually wasn't all that great of a uke player. His strength was that voice and that just weird presence, because he was so tall and gawky and goofy, and that voice was like a twittering little girl. And so let me go back to when I just got bit by this ukulele bug. I didn't know why, but suddenly, a ukulele, that might be a fun thing to have. I didn't think much more about it until things started happening. A friend of mine called me up with, you know, very much in that time period, about a day or so. English fella I used to room with. And, hey, come on over. We're going to watch the George Harrison concert, you know, the memorial concert. I said, oh, okay, it sounds cool. I'll go over. And there's Paul McCartney playing a ukulele and singing Something in the Way She Moves. I'm like, I was just thinking about a ukulele. Isn't that something? I'm walking through the town where I live, and there's a music store there. And there was 2 ukuleles in the window that hadn't been there before. I'm thinking, ukuleles again. What the hell's going on here? And the funny thing about that was there was one traditional one, like, you know, like the little one everyone knows. This one's a little bit thinner. This is a slim line. Usually much thicker all the way across. But anyway, they had one like that, and they had a flying V ukulele. A hollow body wooden flying V. I thought, now that's odd. And they were both around $35. So I bought the traditional one, took it home and tried to play it. It wouldn't stay tuned. It just sucked. So, because it had peg through the head, you know, configuration. And that's a purist, you know, that's the way they used to be done, but give me worm gears anytime. So I took it back, and went to another store, House of Musical Traditions, and bought a fairly nice one, fairly cheap. It was only around $70, and I still have it. It's a real nice one. I didn't bring it today. But before I went and got it, these crossword clues, comic strip references, I started seeing ukuleles everywhere. And like I said, the music store, this is a world-class store. Victor Litz, they had those two crappy ones in the window at this time. I was at a local pub across the street from the music store, having a pint with a couple of blokes, and there's this local music periodical, local music. I'm looking, and featured prominently on the front was a guy named Jake Shimabukuro. You might have heard of him. He's the Jimi Hendrix of the ukulele. He had a video that went around very widely some years back of him playing While My Guitar Gently Weeps, a young Hawaiian man, and he is he's all instrumental. He's done Bohemian Rhapsody, backed up by the Air Force Jazz Band, and the guy's a wizard. So anyway, he's pops on the scene. I'm like, okay, ukuleles, I got to get one. So I went and bought that crappy one, and that all ensued. Since then, I've fallen head over heels in love with the damn thing. I absolutely love it. I used to play guitar and only could ever achieve adequacy, and I write novelty songs, silly songs. I'll sing some of them for you today. But I hadn't written in a while, and I hadn't played the guitar in a while. I was just never good at it. All I ever did was first position chords. I don't know if any of y'all play a stringed instrument, but I made a big mistake when I first started playing the guitar around 12 or so. Like a lot of people do, I was choking the neck like this and fingering and had my thumb way up here. And a lot of people do that, but it really limits your range. You have to work really hard to bar a chord that way. You really have to keep your thumb back here. I never acquired that habit on the guitar, but I made myself do it on the ukulele, and it's paid off because you got to have a lot of left-hand strength to play a guitar effectively anywhere above the 3rd or 4th fret. And even if you have a really good guitar with easy action, it's a lot of work. The ukulele, it's nothing at all. And when you first start out and you buy like an instruction book, let me show you how easy it is just at the very beginning. Here's the ukulele. This one finger on this one fret on this one string, there's a C. That is just, how many things can you do with one finger there? Now, the fully chorded one, this sounds much better when you're barring it. And so I learned very quickly to start barring things. Then I discovered that now that I can bar a chord, I can transpose into any key I want. This is my capo. So I'm barring it down here. That opened up a whole new world of being able to play. I can play any song I want to on the uke. So one of my purposes here today is try to spread this thing around. And if you have any hankering to play any kind of instrument at all, this is a good place to start, and you might just stay with it and love it, because it's become a part of my life. I started writing again. I started writing songs that I hadn't been doing that in a decade maybe. So I'm really glad of it, and I'm going to play some stuff for you tonight and try to stretch as much time. Also, any questions you have, anything you want to talk about. I also like to share silly songs. It's been my experience that most people have a goofy little song rolling around in their head that they've had for years, that they probably learned in childhood, and it rolls in your head sometimes unbidden, or it's just a part of your life. I'll sing you a couple of those too. Here's one I learned at my mother's knee. She taught me this. She was a silly lady, and I loved her. It went, "'Twas only an old beer bottle a-floating on the foam. 'Twas only an old beer bottle 1,000,000 miles from home. Inside was a piece of paper with these words written on. Should anyone find this bottle, they'll find the beer's all gone." And we used to, that's been with me since I was, little. And when I was doing the comedy team, I told you about that, the Video Pirates. I used to be a part of a two-man comedy thing. I was Captain Cable. My partner was Skinbeard the Sailor. And we were the Video Pirates. We sailed the airwaves with our VCRs and stole the programming and sold it to you at a discount on VPTV, Video Pirate Television. And so we'd present sketches in the form of various TV shows that we imagined would be on our imaginary cable channel. And in the course of that, I would be the grumpy straight guy. And, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you this and that, and ah ha ha. And meanwhile, Skinbeard would be goofing off around, and throwing me off my timing and everything on purpose, so that we'd argue, a la the Smothers Brothers, and I'd kill him. And then we'd sing a song we called "The Lack of Motion," from him, lying on the floor singing that way. So we used the beer bottle song, and one of the ways he messed with me, I'd say, somehow I'd introduce the song, and we'd sing that, find the beer's all gone. Now I'd launch into another direction. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and he'd keep on singing. He'd sing, the naked ladies gathered with implements galore, and I'd look at him shocked. No, wait, stop it. They writhed in heated passion upon the barroom floor. Will you stop? Wait a minute. And then they wait, and grab him and shake him out of it. What are you doing? There are kids in the audience. You can't sing a song like that. And oh, well, and besides that, I'd say, you were flat. I said, just as flat as the beer in that bottle. Or sometimes if it was a bluer crowd, just as flat as the ladies on that barroom floor. And I'd say, don't you remember how to sing? I taught you everything. Don't you remember when we sang do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do? And he said, no. I'd say, all right, I can see we're going to have to start from the very beginning. And he'd say, that's a very good place to start. Don't you do it, because, that was from The Sound of Music, and he'd always trying to launch me into another thing. So I'd say, all right, let's try it again. Do, and he'd say, some cash, a bunch of cash. Re, and he'd say, a guy that works at Sears. And I'd say, me. He said, the guy who makes me sing this song. Yeah, that's right. Fa, the space between your ears. So, a word that goes with what? That's good. La, a thing that just ain't so. Okay. T, the guy the A-team's got, and he requires lots of dough, and we'd launch into that. And so that was the way the act went. It went on, and I would play guitar, and we'd sing these silly songs. Well, I hung up the guitar after many years of not really being happy with the way I was playing it. But then I picked up this dang thing, and this is the first song I wrote on a ukulele. It's called Everything I Say. Oh, my dearest, I have a secret I must share, or else my heart will break. Oh, alas, this burden I can no longer bear, and so this confession I make. Don't believe anything I tell you, darling, everything I say is a lie. There ain't a single shred of truth in anything I've ever said, it's all been pie in the sky. I told you I was Champagne Charlie, really I'm just six-pack Pete. Told you I roared around town on a Harley, but all I got to roaring is my 2 flat feet. Oh yeah, the clothing and the cars were rented, the names and the places all invented. Baby, when I said it, I really meant it, but everything I say is a lie. Cue the horns. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba. Everything I say is a lie. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba. I guess I'm just that kind of guy. I told you I stayed at the Waldorf Astoria, and I was a trader in stocks. Really, I live at the Y in Peoria, and I only own 3 pairs of socks. I got the conscience of an alligator. I'm one pernicious prevaricator. I'll tell you something new or true or better, different later. Everything I say is a lie. Oh, but there was one time I really told the truth. On the day we said I do. I know you don't believe me anymore. I wouldn't if I were you. So now you know the reason why all I ever gave you was an alibi. Cross my heart and hope to die. Everything I say is a lie, I really mean it. Everything I say is a lie, and I'm not kidding. Everything I say is a lie, just being honest. Everything I ever told you was just an outright bald-faced, big, fat, stinking lie, lie, lie. La 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 la. La 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 la. Thank you very much. Now you can see one of the obvious problems with the traditional uke. This one is designed with the little curved back. This projects even more than the typical flat one. This is a whispery little thing. It's wonderful around the campfire. It's nice for playing a song one-on-one or in a circle. But I'll tell you, you get on the stage with this thing, and if it don't plug in, this one does, you got to have it mic'd and really pin to it. Here, I'm trying to do this. Well, then, I ran across this creature here. There's a funny cultural divide. You show this around here, and it's always the same. Americans really don't recognize this. They think it's a little banjo, which that's an easy thing to think. It's got the banjo head, but it is a ukulele. It's My Dog Has Fleas. And it's nylon strings, and it just has the banjo head because that projects it louder. It's much more easy to hear, and this being a concert size, it's got more frets, and I can do more with it. And I knew about these, but then if you go to England, everyone knows what this is. They've seen it for years. There was a guy named George Formby who was as famous there as anyone here, singer or actors or performers. And he did naughty songs. On the surface they were just silly little fun things, but they had not very thinly veiled little references. They were almost bawdy, but they could play on the radio. They were kind of nudge, nudge, wink, wink songs. Oh, you should see the things I see when I'm washing windows, And he was a big hit over there. So Brits know all about the banjo-lele, or the banjo uke. But I went and acquired this one because I started playing music with a bunch of people after work. On Thursday evenings, we stay late and get together and just play and sing and harmonize and things just for our own fun. And we've been asked many times. We played the company picnic and retirement parties, and we've done a few open mics, but we're really not trying to do gigs. We like playing together. And so I went and got this thing so it would not have to work so hard to be heard. And man, I just love this thing. I want to sing you a song on this, but I got to pick one out here. I've written like 5 or 6 songs since I picked it up. Oh, here's one I did last night. I think y'all will like this one. Oh, that's the other thing. I was talking about Tiny Tim earlier, and he was known for his association with the ukulele. When I picked one up, I knew some people, no, like Tiny Tim, huh? So I thought, I better be prepared for that. And being Captain Cable of the Video Pirates, and sometimes I'll do I used to do kids' parties, birthday parties, and they wanted a Jedi, so I made up a Jedi character named I'm Gonna Go Catch a Cab. And he was not one of the swashbuckling heroes of the tales. He was a lowly cleric down in the vaults who just tested the Padawan candidates to see if they actually qualified for training. And so I'd run through a little rigmarole with that. But once I figured I'm going to be associated with the ukulele, I better have an answer for the people who say, oh, Tiny Tim. I thought, okay, Tiny Tim's big, tall guy, clean-shaven, long, scraggly hair, and a high, twittery voice. I'm a sawed-off little runt with a button nose and a beard and a deep voice. I'm not Tiny Tim. I'm Big Bill Brody. Hero to all, friend to everyone. Don't worry, little fellow, I won't harm you. Ha, 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 ha. And Big Bill is, he's an oaf, he's a doofus. But somehow he always pulls it off and saves the day, even if the day didn't need saving. Big Bill did it. Thanks, no thanks no thanks needed. Anyway, so Big Bill is a big kid inside, of course, all overstuffed shirts are, and he still believes in Santa Claus. So here's a letter to Santa by Big Bill Brody. Dear Santa Claus, How you doing? This is Billy. Remember me? Oh, I know. It's been a long, long time. Well, I grew up. I'm 63. I never stopped believing in you. I just kind of outgrew all the toys. And I know you read every letter you get from all ages of girls and boys. So Santa, I don't need no games this year, and I no longer ride a bike. But maybe if you could see your way clear, there is one thing I really would like. Oh, I want a hooker for Christmas. That's the only present that I want. A real pretty tall girl, a real city call girl, and not some ordinary contemporary harlot. I see her wearing Christmas stockings, wrapped up in a big red bow. Oh, I want a hooker for Christmas, Santa, so give me the ho, ho, ho. Everybody now, I want a hooker for Christmas. That's the only present that I want. A real pretty tall girl, a real city call girl, and not some ordinary contemporary harlot. I see her wearing Christmas stockings, wrapped up in a big red bow. Oh, I want a hooker for Christmas, Santa. So give me the ho, 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 ho. Something like that, anyway. Thank you. Thank you very much. And once I found out I could play anything that I set my mind to on the uke, just look it up and find out what the chords are. Oh, man, I started checking into playing, I started longing to play those sweet songs from the yesteryear, those long ago love melodies like the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now. Anyway, I tried. Anyway, you get the idea. I have done that one successfully before, but not tonight. Let's see. Oh, this one I like. This one too. The band liked it enough that they insisted we do it. You know, everybody brings a song to the table, and there's never any conflict. If no one wants to, if someone doesn't want to do it, forget about it. But they were nice enough to say, hey, let's really work on the vocals and the harmony, because like a lot of my songs, it has a sappy intro. So the title would give it away. So you'll glean the title from the playing of the song. And the reason sometimes we won't play it is not because they don't like it, but because even though I wrote it to be as unattached to the issue, which is obvious in the song, I didn't mean it as a pro or anti or anything else. It's just a portrait of an old guy who's stubborn. Well, there's lots of talk these days about changing the old ways, right on down to what is or ain't a sin. But no matter what awaits when I reach those pearly gates, there's no way that I ain't getting in, because I'm taking my shotgun to heaven. Nobody's gonna take it from me. Yes, I'm taking my shotgun to heaven, just in case me and St. Peter disagree. So bury me with extra ammunition. You never know, I might need to reload. And please don't bother with a cremation unless you want that sucker to explode. 'Cause I'm taking my shotgun to heaven, and maybe a pistol or three. Yes, I'm taking my shotgun to heaven. They've already done a background check on me. I'll respect any judgment that I'm given. I'm a good man and I've been one all my life, and I know in the end I'll be forgiven. But just in case, I better bring my knife, because I'm taking my shotgun to heaven when a brand new day in glory has dawned. Yes, I'm taking my shotgun to heaven. I'll be armed and ready for the great beyond. Yes, Yes, I'll be armed and ready for the great beyond. Thank you very much. I can only write songs and be happy with them when they hit me out of the blue. It makes me believe in the Muse, or Muses, because that one about everything I say just started popping into my head in pieces. When I first started the job I got now, I was on entry level. I worked for about almost a year doing courier work, walking all over this 8-building campus constantly, and it was starting to take out my knees. So I was real glad when I landed in a little bit less of a strenuous position, but I carried the uke with me because I could, and so I just kind of walked between buildings and strum a little bit, and that song just kind of started popping in. And that's how the best ones happen. The ones I sit down and try to write, they either never develop or I'm not happy with them. This is one that literally, I swear to God, I woke up one morning and my head was still in a fog, and this song came to me. I did not write either one of these, but they were overlapped on top of each other, and I can't think of two. Well, I'll sing it for you, and you make up your mind. And I got a little spiel that goes with it, of course. Our national anthem is, in fact, based on an old English drinking song. Some of you probably know that, To Anacreon in Heaven. And Francis Scott Key was a member of the Sons of Anacreon, and they were a society of gentlemen devoted to wine and free love, shall we say. And their patron was this ancient Greek poet named Anacreon, whose writings were mostly centered on drinking and free love, oddly enough. So the song they had, their club song, was about a petition to Anacreon in heaven, the name of the song, that he would endorse and be their patron. And that started a whole kerfluffle in among the gods. God, the king of them all. Come on, help me out here. Good Lord. Zeus couldn't stand it. He thought, these mortals are upstarts. We can't have this. I'm going to strike them down with lightning. And so Momus, the god of ridicule, and Apollo, of all people, stood up and said, no. Well, first Apollo says, you try to hit them with lightning, I'll give them all laurel wreaths. That protects them from lightning. So, no. And Momus says, yeah, and if you go ahead and do that, I'll make fun of you forever. You'll be the butt of every joke on everyone's lips. Always. And so Zeus thinks about it. He says, okay, since you speak the truth, go ahead and let them have their little club. And that's what the song is all about. To Anacreon in heaven where he sat in full glee. Well, I got to thinking about, our national anthem. It's not really a shame or anything that our anthem comes from that. It's an interesting story. And it's no wonder that tune was in his head when he wrote the thing about seeing the flag through the misty mists of the dawn, and they're pretty well sculpted lines. They're pretty good, and that tune is impossible for anyone to sing who doesn't have a range of 3 octaves or more. But I woke up that morning, and that song and another one were going through my head, and this came out of it. Let's see if I can do this right. Oops, that's not right. Oh, yeah. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Come together right now, 2 very different songs. Oh, you know what? Dang, I gave you the second half first. The first one is here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got choo-choo eyeballs, he one holy roller. He got hair down to his knees. He got to be a joker, he just do what he please. He wear no shoe shine, he got toe jam football. He got monkey finger, he shoot Coca-Cola. He say, I know you, you know me. One thing I can tell you is you got to be free. And then I break into the second part. I messed it up. But anyway, you get the idea. And I swear, thank you very much. It was a very weird experience, waking up and singing, "Come Together in the Star-Spangled Banner." I'll do it. That's just the way my life is, folks. It's stranger than fiction. You know, old songs. Let's see. I wrote a few of these down. Yeah, oh yeah. The Old Beer Bottle. And she also used to sing this one to us. While the organ peeled potatoes, lard was rendered by the choir. While the sextant rang the dish rag, someone set the church afire. Holy smokes, the preacher shouted, and in the rush he lost his hair. Now his head resembles heaven, for there can be no parting there. These are songs from the 20s, folks. Let's see. Oh, you know who I love is Roger Miller. He wrote a hell of a song. Do you remember him? No? Well, he was good. He was a serious performer on country western charts, but he kind of cross charts too. He had you might remember, "Trailer for Sale or Rent, Room to Let 50 Cents." That was Roger Miller. And he wrote a bunch of really great songs. He wrote some straight ones too, and he was definitely chart-worthy performer, but he wrote some quirky songs, some silly songs. A couple of them are just some of my favorites. Yeah, Chug-a-Lug is one. I'm going to do that one. And then, Kansas City Star, yeah. All right, here's a couple Roger Miller songs for your listening and dancing pleasure. Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, make you wanna holler, hidey-ho. Burns your tummy, don't you know? Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, grape wine in a mason jar, homemade and brought to school by a friend of mine after class. Me and him and this other fool decided that we'd drink up what's left. Chug-a-lug, so I helped myself. First time for everything, my ears still ring. Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, make you wanna holler, hidey-ho. Burns your tummy, don't you know? Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, 4-H and FFA. On a field trip to the farm, me and a friend sneaked off behind this big old barn where we covered up moonshine still. And we thought we'd drank our fill, and I swallowed it with a smile. Run 10 mile, chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, make you wanna holler, hidey-ho. Burns your tummy, don't you know? Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, jukebox on a sawdust floor, something like I ain't never seen. Heck, I was just going on 15, but with the help of Buff and Nagel and Uncle, I get snuck in. Had my first taste of sin. I said, let me have a big old sip. I done a double backflip. Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, make you wanna holler, hidey-ho. Burns your tummy, don't you know? Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, flip, 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 flip. Oh well. Again. Thank you very much. I loved Roger Miller. He died too young. He got sick suddenly and died. He had a primetime variety show back in the late 60s, early 70s. And he was something, all right. This is a song that I especially like by him. It's about local cartoon jockeys. And everybody loves them, don't we? Yeah, they're part of your growing up, and there's them and the late night horror jocks too. You know, good evening. Oh, I love those people. And so this is called Kansas City Star by Roger Miller. Let me see. Got a letter just this morning. It was postmarked Omaha. It was typed and neatly written, offering me this better job at higher wages, expenses paid, and a car. But I'm on TV here locally, and I can't quit, I'm a star. I come on TV, a grinning, wearing pistols and a hat. It's a kiddie show, and I'm a hero of the younger set. I'm the #1 attraction, every supermarket parking lot. I'm the king of Kansas City, no thanks, Omaha, thanks a lot. Kansas City Star, that's what I are. Yodelay, you ought to see my car, drive a big old Cadillac with wire wheels. I got rhinestones on the spokes. Got credit down at my grocery store, and my barber tells me jokes. I'm the #1 attraction, every supermarket parking lot. I'm the king of Kansas City, no thanks, Omaha, thanks a lot. Bow, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Kansas City Star, that's what I are. Oh boy, I'm bad. It's the yodel that threw me off. You ought to see my car, drive a big old Cadillac with wire wheels, rhinestones on the spokes. I got credit down at my grocery store, and my barber tells me jokes. I'm the #1 attraction, every supermarket parking lot. I'm the king of Kansas City, no thanks, Omaha, thanks a lot. Stay tuned, kids. There'll be a Popeye cartoon along any minute now. Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry about that. I haven't sung that one in a while. So anyway, Roger Miller, that was just a sidetrack. I want everybody to get a ukulele. Everyone should have one. I think it would bring peace to the world. Because how can you be mad when you can do this? You know, you just can't. Anyway, what else we got here? Letter to Santa. Oh yeah, here we go. This one's about, see if I can pull it off. Thought I'd write a rock and roll song for the ukulele. This is called Pointless. What the hell is gonna become of me? All around me is ambiguity, and I'm overwhelmed with this feeling of ennui. I wake up in the morning and I go outside, and then every day it's the same old thing again. People looking at me, so I'm looking back at them. I'm gonna rock until I stop, roll until I don't, live until I die, spend until I'm broke. I gotta do something to keep from doing nothing at all. I go into the tavern and I order a slow gin fizz. There's some cat at the bar says I got the same drink as his. I don't know the answer, I don't know what the question is. Everyone's unique, it's the same thing everywhere. There's too much apathy, but I don't care. If I wasn't here, I'd be right over there. I'm gonna rock, rock, rock till I stop, roll, roll, roll till I don't, live, live, live till I die, spend, spend, spend till I'm broke. Gotta do something to keep from doing nothing at all. I said I gotta do something to keep from doing nothing at all. Oh boy, haven't done that one in a while either. Thank you very much, I appreciate it, you're very kind. Let me do one more by me, and then we'll just think of something. This is my most recent song, written on a uke. And this is simply called Granny. Granny, that's my daddy's mom. She came from Tennessee. She was always cooking up something from an old family recipe. She'd use a heap of sugar and molasses quite a lot. Couple other things, and she'd stir it all up in that big old copper pot. And them sacks of corn that she got paid from working at the mill. I still miss my granny. Yeah, I really miss her still. Granny never cut no corners. No, she made everything right from scratch. She'd say, "We're cooking up sunshine," as she'd fire up another batch. And folks downwind could always tell when Granny started into cooking. Heck, they'd come a-running from miles around just a-sitting and a-waiting and a-looking. And when Granny declared it was ready, everybody knew the drill. I still miss my granny. Yeah, I really miss her still. Well, Granny's gone on to glory now. Yeah, she's beyond this vale of tears. Her kitchen and that old cook fire, well, they've been dark and cold for years. I know she's up there with the spirits. Her spirits sure ain't down here. We've searched every inch of that old barn, and we still can't find all the gear. But I still have the recipe she left me in her will. I still really miss my granny, and I really, really, really miss her still. Thank you very much. Good old granny, and I want you to know that neither one of my grandmothers was a moonshiner, but, you know. Well, I guess I'm about to wrap it up, folks. The time has gone by real quickly. I think I'm going to go grab a Big Bill Brody smoke. I'll need a big lighter. And last time I was here, I was told that I had to have a proper vessel for any kind of potent potable, so I got a big one. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I sure do appreciate it. Get a ukulele before it's too